Welcome to Mamas on a Mission, a lifestyle channel for moms that are on a mission to create an extraordinary life. I'm your host, Virginia Jimenez, and this is a real talk moment, same day as a Mindful Monday moment, because I just wanted to share what has taken place this morning for me in my life and give you some 3 things that could be Monday morning. And I am scheduled to be at a specific place to meet with clients. And my biggest adversity this morning was to actually get here on time. And was the obstacle that was in my way was the transit system. Unfortunately, I don't have my car. I won't have it back probably until tomorrow. So I am depending on the transit system, which is the train. And typically the train has worked very well for me in the last month, I would say, whenever I do use it. But today there was definitely some challenges that the transit system was facing, and everybody else that was there with me on the transit system was a delay of almost an hour. I think probably, I could easily say it was over 100 people that were waiting to board a train that was already filled because of issues with the train prior to it arriving to our destination or to where we were at that stop. And people were bickering back and forth, and a huge commotion was brought out by these 2 women that were, one that was just complaining about how is it that this train is so filled. Somebody must have basically cheated, this rubbed that person the wrong way, and they started attacking that person, and it was just very chaotic at that moment, and to the point where at some point I stopped and I said, guys, listen, this situation that's occurring right now in our lives, it's nobody's fault here. All of us want to not be on this train packed to capacity where we're standing up like sardines. None of us want that. We're all here because we're trying to get to a destination, and what's occurring right now, we're all facing it, and it's none of our faults. Let's just accept things for how they are. We're here, we're just getting to our destination later than anticipated and later than we'd like. And sometimes we gotta just accept things for how they are and not try to control every situation that comes up, like the train situation. And even after that, solution to this, to get to my destination, and then I quickly found another solution to that and went on my way. My son also had an obstacle this morning where he didn't wake up on time because he was depending on me to wake him up. His alarm clock didn't go off, and that was another obstacle to deal with. And I wanted to kind of come on because I think that during these times, it's very easy to get caught up on how we're feeling, how we'd like things to be, very fixed on what we feel we deserve at that moment. I shouldn't be going through this. This shouldn't be so difficult. My morning shouldn't feel like there's a million things have passed. For example, the question that I asked myself when I realized there was another obstacle: what is the next possible solution that would get me? How can I create this possibility of moving myself from this space that I don't feel, I don't know where I'm at exactly, to the space where I need to, and going from there, taking the steps needed. But in all of this, the biggest thing is that when we step back, when we've already gone, life is filled with them. There's always going to be some obstacle that you are going to face. And they're going to be different. They're not always going to be the same. As long as you're alive and you're actually going out there in the world and doing something, you're going to see that there's going to be obstacles that come up. And it's not so much that, we want to eliminate obstacles. We might want to navigate our way to not face certain obstacles by making different type of choices. But we're going to, eventually we will run into obstacles that are environmental, that have nothing to do with how we are showing up, but they're out of our control, like the train situation this morning. So in times like that where it's feeling stressful, here are 3 questions I think we should ask ourselves. When you're going through something, or when you've already gone through something, what all of a sudden becomes available to you as a result of what you've just gone through, that you weren't anticipating, that you weren't planning on, that you really aren't counting on, experiencing, that was, it seems like an issue. What becomes, to kind of like when you're going through these adversity, or after the adversity, to really sit with the question and start going back in a timeline of what has actually transpired and what you might start to pick up, like start looking for what became available as a result of me going through that situation. That's the question. What became available? And when I ask myself that question, what became available to me as a result of me going through that situation? Well, I actually was able to explore a different area of the city that I normally wouldn't get off on. I actually got on a bus, which I normally don't get on. And, you know, the driver was actually very nice and very friendly and extremely helpful. There's many of us were there kind of lost, not knowing if this is the right step to take or the right approach to take. So I got to learn a little bit about the city a bit, right? That became available to me. I would not have experienced that if I didn't experience this other thing. The other thing that I realized is that I started to have a conversation with somebody on the train, and it was a really nice conversation. And typically when I get on the train, I don't always, you know, have conversations with people. It's very rare. Most people are dug in their books or listening to some audio. Two women that were having this issue come up. I was deep in thought about how interesting that one of them just started, you know, bashing the other one who was in a wheelchair of all things, about how, well, she's going to a real job, and the other person was like, I've worked for the county for so many years. And I realized these two women don't realize this, but this is me. This is, again, what became available to me is learning moments. How sometimes we start doing things like that as a defense mechanism to feel whatever it is, you know, I think this is what I was witnessing in them. And they may think that they are actually very different because one is in a wheelchair and the other one is not, and she's dressed up to go to this nice job apparently, and she expressed to that other person. And little do they know that they're actually very similar. The way that they were showing up in the world was very, very similar. Their response to the environmental stimuli was equal. Was pretty equal. Like, one was upset, she made it known. The other was upset, she made it known. And these two people just collided in their similarities as far as how they handle situations, obstacles. And so it's interesting because externally they looked different, but internally the way that they managed obstacles was very similar. That was actually what became available to me, just a learning moment. The other question I think we should ask ourselves after moments of adversity is, what lessons can be learned? I mean, I think it kind of goes with the other one, the other question in some ways, but what becomes available could be something tangible and not so much something, you know, something scholarly. Like, I see it the way I like to see it, right? I mean, what became available was a new lesson for me. But if you don't see the lesson, ask yourself, what is it that, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? What is it that this is showing me? You know, what can be done differently next time? That might be a good question to help you with, like, the lesson learned. What could be done differently next time? The last question that I think is, what can you express gratitude for as a result of what's taking place? Oh my God. And this is a really good question. And I think that it's not a question that we may ask because it's like, what are you saying, Virginia? I mean, really, why would I be grateful for what just took place? Why would I look at this and try to even see something that I should be happy about? This is not a happy moment. I had to go through this, I had to go through that, and there goes the story about why it is that you deserve better than what you experienced and blah, 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 right? But what if we slowed things down and actually examined and just looked back at what took place and find things that you can express gratitude for? What would happen to you as a result of seeing those moments of being grateful or of gratitude, even in the midst of chaos? And I think that is the biggest question and the most powerful question we can ask ourselves. And really, it's not so much asking the questions, it becomes about the practice of looking for moments of gratitude, even in the face of adversity. Oh my goodness. And this is a powerful, it's really something that has helped me throughout my years. In moments of, like, looking at things, like experiencing crap, right? Experiencing things that I saw were just horrible for me to experience. What can I express gratitude for? So if I looked back at this morning, what can I express gratitude for? Let me tell you, there are several things I can express gratitude for, and every other person that was on that train with me could express gratitude for this. The fact that we were in a train, first of all, I didn't have to walk to my destination. There was AC on this train, which, by the way, is a very scarce commodity where I'm at right now because we just experienced a storm and there are still people in residence that have no electricity. There are still streetlights that don't work. So I am just super grateful that despite this train having at least 100 people on that cart, we had AC, we had power. Man, what a freaking blessing that was. The other thing I could express gratitude for in the midst of that, you know, in the midst of going through this adversity, right, is the fact that even though I had to get off on the stop before my stop, and it was a stop I'm not familiar with, I didn't know how to get to my destination. Man, it was not even 5 minutes after I got off the train that I was able to find myself a ride to very close to my destination. And the man was extremely helpful. The bus driver was very helpful and very warm, and just very open to allowing people to come onto the bus and to speak with them and take his time to listen. I'm so grateful for that, because I think that nowadays, I mean, especially right now, it felt like chaos. This man was still at peace with what was, and his peace actually transferred onto those that were coming on the train. They wouldn't even say good morning. They would just say, "Oh my God, are you going to this location?" And he'd look at their paper, and he with his glasses on, and he'd look at it, and he's like, yes, we go by there. We'll go by there. And I was like, he has no idea. And then all of a sudden, people were like, "Oh my God, I didn't even say good morning. Good morning to you. Thank you." And you realize that this guy could have gone on everybody else's level, because everybody else is feeling chaotic. And no, he didn't. So I'm grateful that he was there, that this man was there and able to take us to where we needed to go. What else? Oh, here's another thing I could express gratitude for. I showed up late, of course, because I was, on this train, and the train was delayed. And I had a client that signed up at the last minute, but my colleague from the class before was able to instruct that class. I'm very, very grateful that he was able to stay for that client, and that the client had a great experience with him. I'm grateful for the manager of the location, because when I messaged her, letting her know what the situation was, she was very open to just kind of also, going with what is. This is what's currently happening in the situation. Let's just make the best of it, right? And that was great. It's great to know that there are people that are leading where I work, that are able to slow things down and see it for what it is, and just let things be as they are sometimes, and work around them and not add to it. So those are things to be grateful for. And I think, again, this is a powerful question to ask after times of adversity. What can you express gratitude for as a result of experiencing this obstacle or this adversity in your life? So I'm going to recap the 3 different questions. And you can always add questions to it. If you see that there might be a different way to word it, go ahead. This is for you. This is a gift for you. This is to help overcome obstacles, because the obstacle can become the way. The obstacle can become the way, and that is a result of how we are showing up and how we're seeing and perceiving situations in our life. So these 3 questions are: what becomes available to me as a result of experiencing this obstacle or this adversity? What lesson can I learn from this? What could I do differently? That might be another question to ask, instead of what lesson can I learn. What could I have done differently in this situation? Or what could I learn from this situation? I think those 2 go hand in hand. And then the last one: what can you express gratitude for as a result of this experience happening? If this experience didn't happen, maybe you wouldn't be able to see these moments of gratitude, or they wouldn't have happened at all. But what can you express gratitude for as a result of experiencing this? I want to thank you for your time today and listening in on a real talk moment, where I talk about what has taken place, what lessons I've learned through it, and ways that we can all, continue to lead and live an extraordinary life. Remember that in life, your circumstances, they don't define you, but your attitudes, decisions, and actions, they certainly do. Until next time. And be sure to subscribe and share this video. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with those that you feel would benefit from it. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful week.